Welcome to the Coach's Corner, part of the Iron Sharpening Iron universe. I'm your host, Davina Lyons, also known as Mama Lyons, and this is where real conversations meet real growth. Here we explore what it means to rise through reflection, resilience, and purpose. One story, one insight, one breakthrough at a time. Whether you're a coach, a leader, or simply on your own personal development journey, this is your space to reflect, identify, stand, and emerge stronger than before. So grab your notebook, take a deep breath, and let's rise together right here in the Coach's Corner.
Welcome back to the Coach's Corner. I'm Mama Lyons, and this is a space where growth isn't just something we talk about, it's something we live out. Today's conversation is for the woman who's been carrying a lot, showing up, achieving, doing what needs to be done, but feeling like she has to constantly prove herself just to take up space in leadership. If you've ever felt like you were trying to succeed in systems that were never designed with you in mind, this one is for you. I'm joined by Dr. Randee L. Sanders, leadership, strategist, disruptor, and the voice behind radical intentional leadership. We're getting into what it really means to lead from who you are with clarity, with confidence, and with conviction, not from pressure, but from a place of alignment and purpose. So take a moment, settle in, and really listen, because something in this conversation may shift how you see yourself as a leader. Let's get into it. Hey, Doc, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Great, great. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
This is a real treat to have you. So I know for some of you, you may remember we were going to do this a while back, and inclement weather made it really hard. So Doc Sanders is back. She is back. And I told you she would be. I told you she'd bring the conversation. And I'm very excited about it because I think this is a conversation right now that we really have to have. So again, welcome everyone who follows the Coach's Corner. And we're just going to let's get started. So for listeners meeting you for the first time, who is Dr. Randee? And what do you mean when you say leadership isn't inherited, it's intentionally designed?
Well, let me thank you again for allowing me to join you on the Coach's Corner. I'm so excited and I'm grateful that the weather is better in my part of the world where I'm actually able to join in.
Right.
So looking forward to this conversation. So I'm very grateful to be on your platform today. Who is Dr. Randee? At my core, I'm a leadership strategist. I'm an architect for women who know that they're meant for more, right? And they refuse to lose themselves to get there. So I am a disruptor of what I like to call outdated constructs, right? Those societal constructs, those traditional norms. I'm a designer of the life that I truly want to live and fully embody. So that is Dr. Randee in a nutshell. I have my own firm, CEO and founder of R.L. Sanders and Associates, and we focus a lot on a framework called Disruptor, Designer, and Embody Her. And as you can see in my shirt, I have a community called D&D, Design Not Default, right? I want you to design your life rather than defaulting. And typically that's how most of us, I would say all of us, usually default in a career. If you really think back to when you first started your career, someone told you you need to get a degree and get out there and start working in some field. This is for men and for women, and we choose it and then we get in it. And then sometimes we just continue down that pathway, which may not align with our particular passions and values. So That's the whole concept behind design, not default. And I think that one should design the life they truly want to live versus defaulting into something that either by circumstance or someone else chose on their behalf. So that is who I am. But when I talk about leadership, when I say leadership is inherited, because I think that was the second part of your question, I'm challenging the belief that leadership arrives through permission, through titles, by proximity of power, kind of what I was already sharing, right? Like these societal constructs. Who told us that we had to do it this way? What if I want to do it my way? But no one really we don't come out the gate thinking that way. So for me, leadership is designed through intentionality. How you choose, right? How you want to respond, what you do in life, how does that align with your values and your actions over time? Because to me, the most powerful leaders that I know, they didn't stumble into leadership when I think about it. They designed it on purpose. And that just comes with time.
That's so true. I love that. I was thinking as you were talking about my own journey, and I sort of naturally gravitated to what you're talking about just from experiences, from trial and error, from living and finally saying enough. I'm not, because I started in corporate in my early 20s. And I look back on the way I was treated by certain individuals who were in leadership at the time. And what I realized is that they saw my power before I saw my power. And so they had to dampen it in order to keep their positions safe, so to speak, or at least that's the way I believe they thought, their own insecurities. And so I realized that no, I'm going to be me. I'm going to do me. And I went through the authenticity era, as I call it, and then and now I'm on the resilience era. But one thing for sure, I figured it out, and I figured that I'm not shrinking to make you bigger, and I think a lot of people do.
Yes.
And something else you said that really I resonate with as well is that people influence your life and tell you what you should and shouldn't do and how. And those people often are people we love closest to us, our parents or grandparents or whomever in the family who thinks that they know what's best for you, but they may not know your gift, your abilities. They may not know the things that you are yet to produce in life. And so steering you in a different direction takes away from what you really can be and do. So I totally agree with where you're coming from, and I think it's awesome. So let's talk about it. So you call yourself and I hope I say this right, alchemical. Why I struggle with that word, I do not know, but alchemy, right? Alchemical architect and a designer of liberated futures. I love that. What does that mean in real life terms for a woman leading today?
So let me just point of clarification. I'm not the one who called myself designer liberated futures. Someone crowned me with that, and I said, "Oh, you know what? I receive it."
Okay.
That's how you see me. I appreciate it because I do want you to be liberated. I do want you to design your own life on your own, your own choices. So thank you. Thank you. I'll receive that. So for me, you were correct. It's alchemical architect. To me, in real terms, it means transformational or transforming pressure into power. Right? If you break it down, alchemy is about transformation and architect is about design. So my work sits right at the intersection of dismantling what no longer fits. And that's outdated roles, that's outdated systems, that's outdated identities, inherited expectations, survival-based leadership. Because if we all are really honest, we've been in that space of survival, right? Our leadership, what got us here won't necessarily get us to our next level. And what we've had to do sometimes was based out of survival. And I appreciate you sharing that even how our upbringing shape us, because you're spot on with that. It is it's generational. Each generation wants to do something better for the next, which I totally understand. But what comes with that is this kind of sense of, I'm going to give you the direction to not do what I did. So I'm going to put you on this trajectory of something a little bit better. And that may not necessarily be the pathway you want to go, or it could be, right? It just needs to be your decision. And everything, starts with good intentions, is what I like to say. When I think back over my childhood,
Right.
my family definitely was to shaping me to go a particular way. And I didn't do. If I'm being totally transparent, I'm not where my mom, where my mom and dad necessarily thought that I would be. Like, they had a vision
Right.
of where I was going to go post college, and I didn't do any of that.
Right. Neither did I. Right. Right.
I had to be
Yeah,
really,
no, I get it.
yeah, I just had to grow. You have to grow through your own. And you mentioned something just a minute ago that reminded me of a quote when you talked about experiences. Someone said, and I can't remember who said this, that wisdom is gained through experience, and experience is gained through poor decisions, but poor decisions is gained through experience. Like, it's just a cycle. You have to do it.
It is. It is. It is. Failing is a great thing. Yes, yes. And that's right. That's how I grew. I grew from mistakes that I made.
Right.
But when I look back on it, I was always that person in a staff meeting or whatever that was disruptive, so to speak, right? I didn't understand that there's beauty in being a disruptor,
Yes.
because that's what I did. Because when something didn't set right, didn't sound right, you couldn't just feed me anything. I was going to ask the questions, and I was going to get answers somehow. And that's how I grew. Now
Mm-hmm.
sometimes did it warrant now I have to have a follow-up conversation with someone behind closed doors? Yeah, probably. But most times I still walked away feeling good about myself, because I think that's important. As I grew, as I got older and became more firm in my confidence, I didn't say anything unless I could back it up. And I think that's a part of it as well. I mean, there's so many nuances to this, right? And,
Absolutely.
and for younger people who may happen to listen to this, or you're in a position in life where someone is giving you advice, I think it's important that you understand that it is, like Doc said, it's with good intention. It's
Absolutely.
with good intention, but you also have to exercise your own um, intuition.
Correct.
You have to know when something doesn't feel right, because if it doesn't feel right, most times it's not right. And that's the part I think that a lot of people don't necessarily hone in on. They're just living in reactive mode versus being intentional and proactive.
Survival. It's
Yeah,
still survival.
survival.
I feel like
Right,
people are just operating in survival mode majority of their life, and
right,
they disregard what their gut is saying, because that is your instinct is your gut.
right.
I'm telling
Is
you,
your
your
gut?
intuition is your gut. And when you feel that
Yes.
nudge, if we knew what we knew now when we was younger, we would have listened. But that
Yeah,
comes with time. That comes with learning experiences. I would even say the circle that you keep, right? The individuals that you
for
engage,
sure.
they will definitely help you sharpen that saw and tell you sooner rather than later, listen to your gut.
Right,
Listen to your gut. And honestly, being a disruptor, people hear disruption and automatically put a negative connotation.
right,
And it doesn't have to be.
right.
I love your example,
Yeah,
because you're going to speak up, you want to speak truth to power. You're very sovereign in who you are. You're very true. You know who you are, who your true self is, and all of a sudden you're labeled as this disruptor who's just changing things. I am disrupting things because I want things to be better, or I
yeah,
want to make things more excellent, not necessarily
yeah.
shift how you perceive things. It's just
Right.
another way of looking at it. So it's that intentionality that's behind it when it comes to
Absolutely.
leading in this space. And, like I said, being sovereign. And for me, it's liberation. It's the freedom. You want to
Right.
feel free. You want to be able to show up as your true self in all
Right.
spaces, not just in
Right.
your career, not in your entrepreneurial ventures, but in your personal life, with your
Right.
family, with your friends. You want to be accepted for who you are.
And it's so hard because I think that there's so many layers, one of which is culture, ethnicity. There are things that people, you walk in the door with some barriers, as much as people don't want to say it, but it is depending on who you're dealing with. And when you become a high achieving woman, when
Mhm.
you are someone who is really making things happen, hey, there's always going to be some haters lurking in the shadows. There's always going to be someone out there who wants to, again, kind of diminish your power so that they can have power. So this is really what you're doing is super important, especially for a woman, I think, who's already feels like she's at that pinnacle, or she's in a, she's high achieving, she's making things happen, but at the same time, at what cost?
At
And
what
this
cost?
is where, at what cost? Because I know that and your work aligns a lot with what I'm doing, but I'm doing it specifically with educators. I'm working
Mhm.
specifically with people in the education field more so than anything. But it's the same thing. It's like you go, and then one day you wake up and you're like, what is this all about? And how much of my soul have I sold, so to speak?
Right.
Um,
That part. That part, right? So it's and it's a shift of the mindset, because you will go through those, you will have those questions as you are freeing yourself, is what I like to call it. And
right,
disrupting, before you can truly design, it's this whole psychological liberation that you have to do before you can even design. So
right,
you're not abandoning responsibility, but now like I said, taking back your power. You're leading without all of the extra additives of performing or apologizing for who you are, right? Or
right.
shrinking or self erasing yourself out of the equation. No, you're part of the equation. 2 + 2 = 4, and you are 2. Like you can't get to 4 if you don't have that middle number. You are part of the equation.
Absolutely. Absolutely, you are. Absolutely. So how, you know, we say high achieving women are stuck in performance mode. How do you help women shift from performing leadership to embodying leadership?
Yeah, again, that goes back to the whole psychological liberation. That's why in
Okay.
my framework, disruption is the first stage. What I've
Okay.
what I've experienced and what I've learned is that high achieving women are looking to elevate, like I said, either in their career or they're looking to start their own entrepreneurial ventures. But it's the same pathway where I want to learn these new skills. I want to get this next credential to prepare me to take on this next level. But then right here in the mind, we have yet to even give ourselves permission to truly see ourselves great,
Mm. We're
right?
doing the self work.
Doing the
Okay.
self work. So that performance-based leadership is rooted in proving, it's rooted in pleasing, it's rooted in perfecting. Because again, if we're honest, think back over when you enter the workforce, even maybe younger, they always tell
Mm.
you to find that mentor, find that individual that you kind
Right.
of, you want to
Right.
emulate, or someone you look up to. And when you do that, we are observing how they operate and kind of taking in some of the steps of how we may want to perform, start shaping us. Because if I show up like this individuals, then I might get to this particular level. So
Right.
we learn it at a very early age on how to start performing
Right.
leadership. But
Right.
embodied leadership is rooted in clarity. It's rooted in self-trust. It is rooted
Right.
in alignment, right? What do
Right.
you truly want to do? What aligns
Right.
with your values? And that takes
Right.
reflection. That takes a moment for you to sit with yourself and just say, hey, Doc, is
Hmm.
this really what you want?
Right.
Right? Does
Right.
this really
Exactly.
align with your core belief systems?
Yeah.
Are you
So
showing
there
up?
has to be some reflection. Absolutely.
You definitely have to do reflection. You
Yes.
can't, it's impossible. And I know people they don't like to say impossible, but take the impossible and make it impossible. Okay. It is
Right.
impossible to truly design your next level if you don't take a moment to reflect on where you
Right.
currently are, because you can't skip these steps. You cannot
Hmm.
skip these steps.
You
So for
cannot. You
me,
cannot.
it's been my experience that the shift begins when women recognize where leadership has become a survival strategy. Because I'm telling you, we've been surviving. First off, we're women, and then I can, women of color as well. We
Right.
have all of these things stacked up against us already. So if we can shift out of
Absolutely.
survival strategy and move more into expression of identity, then we
Right.
can really start embodying who we want to show up as each and every day.
You know, and as you're talking, I'm thinking about women who are and I'm talking about, again, women who are in these higher roles, the high achieving roles, C-suite, even women of color in those situations have to, I don't know about them, but I remember when I started my career, and again, I started in corporate immediately. I skipped the fast food and all that kind of stuff and went right into office environment at a very young age, and felt like I was pretty much bullied by some people
Mhm.
back then because I was a young girl. And at the same time, um, my natural way of being, sometimes I was constantly labeled aggressive,
Mm,
not assertive,
right.
aggressive. And so I
Yes.
think, depending on where people have the journey that they've traveled in corporate, or, and I keep saying corporate because that's what I know, but
Mhm.
in any arena, to get to the top, there's a lot of peaks and valleys, and in doing so, you experience things that you sort of take with you.
Mhm.
I think cognitively you start to embody some of what you're being called. And I had to really sit down and reflect on, am I aggressive? Am I really aggressive? Or am I just having to come across a little stronger to get my point across, or to be heard, to have
Right.
my voice considered? And that's where, without understanding as much as I do now, that's where I started to shape my own way of being, and then be unapologetic about it, because I realized that it didn't matter what I said or thought or whatever. If someone feels a certain way about me and they treat me that way, it
Mhm.
impacts my career, it impacts my livelihood, it impacts how my son eats. So
Agree.
no, we're not doing that.
Absolutely.
We're not.
Stereotypes are real, right? So
Yes, they are.
that's one of the prominent stereotypes is women are aggressive,
Yeah.
or African American women or women of color are
Yes.
aggressive, and we're never seen as assertive. And
No.
we do, you're right, we do kind of maybe take that on for a little bit of time in our career, but I do think
Yeah.
as we continue to elevate and when we want to, and what you said was powerful, what you did is reflection. When we really stop to ask ourselves, am I being aggressive? Because we are going to ask ourselves that.
Right.
Because if people say it enough, now you wanna,
Yeah.
any high emotionally intelligent individual is going to stop and say, am
Right.
I actually aggressive? Or am I being assertive? And then my assertion, why is it being perceived as aggression?
Right.
Am I
Right.
in the right environment where
Right.
people want to see a certain way versus the way I'm actually delivering it? What I've
Right.
learned, I used to teach communications a very long time ago, and I learned that it doesn't matter what we deliver. That it depends on the person that's receiving the information. They get the opportunity to interpret whatever we
Yeah.
say.
Right.
Even if we think
Right.
we're saying it with all the apple pie and
Right.
all the sweets and niceties on it, they get to interpret it. And then that, to your point, it does impact our psychology, and we
Right.
start to, not specifically high achieving women, we
Right.
start to over function, and we
Right.
start to try to show up and overperform. All those overs, over function, over perform, we want to overprove, right? We want to do
Right.
all of that. But once we are aware, you
Mhm.
take that moment to reflect, that over
Mhm.
functioning gets replaced with intentional decision making. No, I'm not being aggressive.
Right.
I'm asserting, and I have the data to back this up.
That's
This
right.
is not my opinion. This is data informed decisions here. So that's
Research, whatever. That's right.
exactly. And to me, that's when
Right.
embodiment starts to happen, is when leadership stops being something that you do and
Right.
it becomes something that you are. So we are
Absolutely.
consistently showing up anchored in our values rather
Right.
than trying to seek validation. But I'm quite sure that's how we all kind of come out the gate again,
Yes.
right? When we're young, and I've been in all sectors. I've been in for-profit, nonprofit, I've worked in higher ed.
Yes.
I've seen it. And
Yes.
we want to prove, we want to show what we can do. Not pick me, but look at me because I have these skill sets. And we just, like I said, we overcompensate in areas. Let me share my personal story. For me, I'm first generation college graduate.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, I was like, oh, you know what? I'm going to go up. I'm going to get another degree because they say you get your master's, you master something. You can get a better job, better paying job. So that's what I decided to do.
That's
And
right.
then I am, excellence is my North Star. So I'm like, oh, wait, there's another degree on top of this one. Okay, let me go ahead and get my doctorate degree and let me see where that gets me.
Yes, yes.
So I was chasing all these degrees, thinking that it's going to give me a pathway to something higher. And it did. I got into some very high seats in organizations and got up there and was like, my nervous system said, what the hell are we doing? We're going to keep trying to show up and prove to these people what you already know.
Right.
So I had to take a minute and I had to reflect and say, hey, Doc, is this aligning? Like, you're doing a lot of running for your life. Is it aligning with your core values? And I had to say no. I know some people are surprised that I've stepped down from some higher positions in organizations.
Absolutely.
Because I said that I'm tired.
Absolutely.
I'm exhausted. And it's no longer aligned.
Yes.
And I'm in a space in my life where it's about alignment. I'm listening to my intuition. I am fully embodying who I am. I'm not trying to prove myself to anyone.
Right.
I know who I am.
Yeah. And for some people, that sounds like a pipe dream because they are so far away from it. Sure. But one of the things that you said more than once that I love is anchored in your values.
Yes.
You cannot skip over that. Anchored in your value. Because your values, and as a coach, we know that we always do the values exercise because we want people to operate from that space of what is important to them, because that's where they're going to thrive. And it's so interesting when you really stop to think about your values, what's important to you. Sometimes it doesn't even align with your career. You've ended up in some career that has nothing to do with what's important to you. And that was how it was for me. I did corporate forever. I came from a family of educators. And so we had PhDs in our family, and my mother always boasted about that and how my mother was in education for 27 years. And so I had all of these people, and I said, I'm not doing that. I want to be a teacher. So I didn't want to be a teacher, and I ran from it, and I did everything but at the same time, nobody was trying to talk me into being a teacher. It was my mom wanted to be a lawyer. She wanted me to be this, that, but not a teacher. But at the same time, what I realized is that I was in the financial services industry with big companies, Amex, whatever, in corporate, in a cubicle, and I was so unhappy. Not about necessarily the job I was doing, but I didn't feel like I was contributing to society because that was what
felt off. Just something felt off inside of you, right?
It did. Yes, it did. And I somehow, because of who I am, navigated somehow back to education, and look at what I do. I teach. But even beyond that, it wasn't just about me becoming a teacher. What I realized is I have a higher commission, and it is to help educators, help teachers. But I had to go through being one first.
Of course.
Before I could strengthen them in terms of the industry. So I get it, but man, it's all about what you value. I value children. I value education. I totally value education. And there's so much that I can see in people that they don't see in themselves. And so that's my gift. And that's where I'm able to bring that out. But again, that's the first step. Like you said, not only is the reflection, but it's about what's important to you. What really matters, like intrinsically matters, right? And so, go ahead.
Now I was going to share, and also give yourself permission to chase what aligns with you. I think that's also a stumbling block for high achieving women, is where they're seeking permission externally, permission from your superior for the next promotion, but bet on yourself, because you know you better than anyone else, and you know what your values are. And I love that you shared that you are focusing on your value system. What exactly do I want to do? And you know that is teaching. I too, as well, while I have my business, I also still teach in higher ed. And the reason why I teach in higher ed is because I know my gifts is to empower, inspire, and mentor. And I'm utilizing my gifts across all platforms that I am engaging with. So I am pouring into these future doctors, because I facilitate doctoral candidates to get their doctoral degrees.
Nice.
I am pouring into those individuals to achieve something that they desire in life. And that makes me smile on the inside and outside. I am helping or supporting high achieving women get to their next level, either in their career or their entrepreneurial ventures. And that makes me feel great. That aligns with my values. My values are simply this: I know that I'm a servant to this world.
Yes.
And this is the space that I am choosing to serve, because this is where my gifts shine.
Right. Right. That's powerful. It is so true. You know, the next thing I was thinking about is community. I met you years ago in a community of amazing women.
Yes.
And I have to shout out Felicia R. Davis, because she introduced us. And she has been a mentor of mine for a very long time as well. And she's someone that I look at and say, you know, she walks her talk.
Absolutely.
And walks her talk and does it well. And her story and everything. And I'm going to have her on as a guest. I haven't asked her yet, but she will be. She will be. I know she will be. But actually, when I think about community, we've talked about one side of it, but there's the other side. Because along the journey, for someone listening who has experienced what we're talking about, but there's what you want to make sure you value is those people that are coming alongside of you, who are doing the opposite, who are encouraging you, who are pointing out your brilliance, who are saying, you got this. And I had, for as many as detractors, I definitely had those people as well. And those are the people that became the wind beneath my wings that kept me going to the next level. So we want to definitely, you know, talk about that too, because I think that's really important, to acknowledge the people that are encouraging you in life.
I agree. Community is essential in getting you to your next level. You know, once you get to know who you are, you need to surround yourself with other like-minded individuals. You know, you hear it in so many different ways: birds of a feather flock together, your power of five, right? Proximity to who you are. There's so many different ways to say it, but it is so important to identify your tribe, is what I like to call your community, who's going to help you catapult you into your next level and not necessarily keep you in your comfort zone. So I agree with you. So and Felicia is phenomenal. I consider Felicia one of my mentors. So
yeah, she's amazing. Yes, for sure. You know, I started out, my very first group was called Tribe Authentic Woman. I don't know if you remember.
I remember.
Because I too love the word tribe. Then I got feedback saying that it might be appropriating or something. Anyway, I changed the name because I was like, okay, that's not what I mean. But you're right. It's the people that are closest to you, and facilitating these groups and having people in your sphere that are encouraging, that are good examples, that are not afraid to tell you the truth. Because there's a difference from your supporters telling you the truth and people, again, trying to get you to shrink so that they can grow. There's a total difference, and you have to know what you're working with, right?
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. Yep,
I
absolutely.
agree. I think a healthy community should stretch you, and to your point, it shouldn't shrink you.
Right.
I think it starts. I also believe that it starts right in your familiar, all your groups. And I like to use this analogy of that everybody is on a ship. So it should start with your kinship, from your friendships to your relationship to your partnership. All of those ships should stretch you in some capacity. If you're not helping me grow, then we are missing.
All right, write that down. You do know I'm taking that. I have never heard that. I love that. And when you think about that, that is so true.
Yes.
They're all taking you someplace.
They're all taking you someplace. And
I love that.
For sure.
Right? Fresh off my cruise, that works for me.
That's right.
That is a great analogy. It is true. It is true. I want to talk about radical intentional leadership, and I think we've been talking about some of these things, but just to drive home what what makes leadership radical, and why is intentionality so important right now?
Yeah. Radical is another word similar to disruptive.
Yes. Yes. It could
Where
be.
people hear it and they're just like, oh my gosh, they
Yeah.
kind of want to shy away. And I'm like, no, radical is big. It means you arrive, you're here. It's disrupting again those old patterns, those default behaviors.
Yes. Yes.
Right. So that's, to me, that's what radical
Like that.
intentional leadership is. We've come to normalize burnout, and we've come to normalize overextending, as I was sharing before, and have this quiet resentment to it. Now we're choosing to,
Right.
overextend and overfunction, and then we're resenting it in the background, like, ugh. And that comes at a cost, right? It comes at a cost to our success, our elevation, where we're going next. And radical leadership, again, for me, intentional leadership rejects autopilot. Like, we're no longer on autopilot. We're doing something completely different. We are definitely like, listen, I'm being very conscientious about my choice, about where I want to go, how I want to show up. That's the intentionality part to it, because it matters. It matters for everyone. It matters to shift your systems. It matters when you're trying to shift expectations. So all of that, what I like to tell women, what you thought you knew, come on, leave it at the front door. Because what we about to do is kind of shift some things around. We're collapsing some things. And I need individuals to come in totally unzipped and being open to going where you want to go. People are very clear about their vision.
Right.
About what maybe tools they need to pick up along the way. But again, it starts here. So I need you, like, right? When I say you, I mean women. I need the women to just release, shed some of those old mindsets, and I call them default mindsets, default behaviors. Let it collapse so we can move forward. Intentionality is about your choice, and you have a choice. You have a choice. No one's forcing you to stay in any career, to stay in any type of situation. You can choose at any point in time. And that's what you want to do. You want to start designing systems instead of being designed within a system. I tell people all the time, I don't want to feel like a machine.
Right.
I want to design the machine.
Right.
I want to be the machine. I want to design it, but that's my choice.
Yeah.
And that's what radical means. That means taking the self-imposed, the imposter, people talk about imposter syndrome. I don't always think that is external. I think sometimes we put our own glass ceilings on us. Removing it, busting through, that's radical.
Absolutely.
Taking back your power
Absolutely.
is your choice.
Absolutely. I love that. I love that. You have so many golden nuggets in what you're saying. And I don't even think people think along the lines of where I mean, this is, to me, revolutionary in what you're saying. I think people get up every day and they go to and from work, and they, either they're up or they're down or somewhere in between. They're not really sure, but they don't stop to think about how much power they have in the situation. And how much they can be intentional about designing, right? And that's what you're saying, designing that life. You mentioned something about seasons of solitude. Talk about what that means. The seasons of solitude. I like that.
Yeah. So solitude for me is where I recalibrate.
Okay.
I like to take some time to myself. That's where the self-reflection happens. It creates discernment for me when I talk about solitude. It's not a withdrawal from people. I don't want people to think like, oh my gosh, she's being antisocial. No, I'm just taking some time to reconnect with self. I'm trying to figure out where I want to go next, right? And for me, when I think about my leadership, solitude sharpens my judgment. It strengthens my intuition. It restores this internal authority for me. It allows me to truly hear my voice without all the external white noise.
Yes.
Need it. Like the isolation, and I'm going to use the term isolation, but isolation for me is like let me say it this way. Isolation disconnects people from their purpose. For me, solitude deepens it. So I just need that moment to just reconnect with me on what do I want for myself next?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm still
Mm-hmm.
and my framework, disruptive designer embodier, is cyclical, right? Every level you get to, you're gonna have to disrupt yet again to get to design where you want to go next. So I need
Right.
a season of solitude where I can practice intentionality.
Right.
It's to
Right.
me, it's
Absolutely.
a strategic pause.
Right.
That's what I call it.
I
A
like
strategic
that. Strategic pause. I like that too. I'm telling
yeah.
you, I'm vibing with everything you're saying. I love this stuff.
Yeah, it's essential. It's just it grounds me. It grounds me, it grounds my
Yes.
leadership. And
Yes.
I need that. I need
Yes.
that.
Yes. Yeah. We've talked already about community.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what should women look for in a community? How do they know if they've outgrown their community? Can you
Mm.
talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I would say it's been my experience. Women know that they've outgrown their community when they are required to shrink, when they're
Mm.
required to explain, when they're delaying their evolution and they no longer feel a
Ooh, I
sense
like
of
it.
belonging. I think you've
Ah,
definitely outgrown your community because, again, like I said, healthy communities expand capacity, right? They're not here to manage
say
it,
that again for anybody who didn't hear that.
right?
Healthy communities.
Healthy communities expand capacity. They
Oh my
don't
goodness.
manage it. They do not manage it. They should be expanding. So if you are not growing in your
Mm-hmm.
community, if they're not stretching you, then maybe
Yeah.
it's time. Those are signals. Let me say it that
Those
way.
are,
Those are signals
oh
that's
my
like,
gosh, that's
hmm,
good.
maybe I need
Yeah.
to move on. Communities is not for comfort, friends. And that's why I work with high achieving women who are ready. If you're not ready, then my community is not for you. And that's okay because there's communities
Ah,
for you.
right. Absolutely.
It's just not
Absolutely.
this one, right? So I
Yeah,
want
that's
to work
good.
with the ladies who are ready to really stretch themselves, who are ready to be catapulted into their next level. I read this book about 2 months ago. I was finishing up because I'm trying to read like a book every 2 months with everything else going on.
Impressive.
I like to,
Impressive. Go
I
ahead.
like to feed my mind, right? So I was
Okay.
reading The Big Leap, and people may have heard that book before. I think it's by
The
Gary.
big leap.
Yes, The Big Leap by
Okay.
Gary Hendricks. I believe that's his last name. But he
Uh-huh.
talks about these different zones that individuals are in. And one of the zones is zone of comfort, zone of competency, zone of excellence, and zone of genius. And what I
Ooh.
realized that most high achieving women, they sit in the zone of excellence. You know how I realized this? Because I too was that person sitting in my zone of
Mhm.
excellence. I have the capabilities. I'm comfortable. I'm doing great for myself. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I've arrived. And there's a whole other level
That's a
called
totally
zone
different.
of genius where I can just be free, where I can truly embody everything
Nice.
that I desire. But that zone of excellence is very alluring. It's
Yes.
very
Because you feel some success there.
you
You
do.
feel like,
You do,
I'm
as you
I'm doing
should.
it. I'm good.
Yes,
But
as
not
you should.
necessarily.
As
Mm-hmm.
you should. But when
Mm-hmm.
you start to sit back and really ask yourself, am I truly aligned with all of my values, my value systems? And if the answer is no, that zone of genius is where you
Yes.
need to go, right? So your
Yes.
community should catapult you into your next zone, wherever you are. If
Right,
you're in your
right.
zone of competency, they should be catapulting you to the excellence zone and then to the zone of genius using his book and his words. They should be
Okay.
helping you get to your next level.
Okay. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. I have a quote here that you said, not everyone is my assignment. I want you to unpack that. I like that.
Oh, Mama Lions.
I do my homework.
I know, but
I do. Yes,
listen.
yes.
That
Uh-huh.
realization changed everything for me. And it only changed for me when I decided to radically accept that that's what it was for me.
Yes.
Because I really thought that I could help everybody. I really
Mm.
did. I told you I lead from a servant heart. So I was like, okay, I can definitely
Yes.
support and help people. But discernment kicked in. Mm. Discernment told me that I need to place my energy where it was meant to go, not where I might want it to be. Let me say it that way.
That makes
Right.
sense. Yes.
So I
Yes.
feel and this is me. I'm going to say many leaders, but I'm in the leaders bucket on this one. Like,
Okay.
we exhaust ourselves. We exhaust ourselves thinking that we're responsible for everybody. And that's me. Like, oh, I want to help because I'm a helper, right? I'm a help. I can help you. I can strategize. Let's think through these things. But again, discernment had to say to me, I serve where there is readiness, not resistance. And that was hard for me. That was
Oh,
hard for me to
you
accept.
have me writing again. Readiness, not resistance.
Readiness,
Oh
not
my
resistance.
goodness.
Hence the reason why I was able to say to you, my community wants to work with the women who are ready.
Yes.
Right? If you are
Yes.
not ready to put in the work to bet on you,
Right.
then my community is not for you. And I may be able to refer you to some other individuals I know that have communities that's better aligned with you at this stage in your life. And that is okay. I had to learn that I'm not meant to work with everybody.
Right.
And I thought that I was.
No, I totally makes sense. And I think I'm in that learning stage myself. Just like even as an entrepreneur, you don't serve everyone.
Correct.
And I had to really kind of understand why you niche down, why it's so important, because you can't be all things. You can't be all things to everyone. But this is it's there's so much in what you're saying. So back to the readiness.
Let me just share this because I had a girlfriend. And like I said, this is a big one for me because I have a girlfriend that says to me all the time, everyone's not your assignment. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, it just would not click for me. And then she was like, well, who assigned you to show up for this person? I was like, what? No, God assigned me. Like that. I'm just right. And she's just like, no one said that you had to be everybody's teacher. And I'm like, why does she keep saying that? And then I realized she's absolutely right. I can't be here for everybody. I'm definitely, as I am getting more clarity on me, I need to align with readiness again, not out of obligation, where I feel like I need to show up.
Yeah. That that resistance part, that in of itself is a whole show. People are resistant because of fear, oftentimes fear of what's next and how can I, or not believing in themselves. I mean, what are the patterns that you see with people who are not ready? People, based on your experience of showing up for and taking on these assignments that you realize later, okay, I wasn't assigned to this person.
Right.
What are some of the patterns helping listeners understand, what to look for or what not to do?
Yeah, I think those are really good questions. I like one of the ones I like to really lean into is what you alluded to earlier today about the intuition. Your gut will never steer you wrong, and your gut tells you when something is off. That is your internal compass. Like, this just doesn't feel right. I'm gonna need you to listen to that and not ignore it. And that's just not in your profession. I mean, professional careers.
Period.
That's in life, right? I need you to listen to that. That's one of your signals that's saying something is off here and I need to do something different.
Right.
So you want to look for that. You want to sit back and ask yourself, am I showing up proving myself? Do I always feel like I'm trying to prove my worth in this particular situation? And we do from time to time, but you have to ask yourself the question. Take your power back by asking yourself, am I trying to prove myself in this space? And be honest with yourself. Right? Am I performing? Am I just doing this? And especially for women of color, am I code switching? Because I know, and let me say this right. Code switching is a strategy, and yes, we need to use it.
Yes.
We do want to get where we want to go. Yes. It needs to be employed to get us to certain levels. But at some point in your journey, you have to say no more, no mas. Like
Right.
I'm done. I'm done with it.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't mean that you don't let your hair down with your best girlfriends out at dinner and just go ahead and speak ebonically or do whatever.
Right.
I've done it. Yeah, that's fine. But at the end of the day, you're not selling your soul on that one. You're not. You're just relax. It's like having a casual outfit on versus, you wear a suit. We know the difference between casual day and when you need to suit up, right?
Exactly.
So I see the same way in terms of how we interact. But some people the level of code switching is you're an imposter. Like what is happening
Right.
here? You are not you.
You are not you.
And that's not good.
And I tell people, know your audience.
Right.
So yes, you will tailor how you speak in certain environments.
Right.
And that is okay. And that's to be expected.
Right. Right.
But to your point, yes, some people they totally forget.
Yeah.
Who am I?
Yeah.
What's that
Because
song?
you're being someone else.
Eminem with the real Slim Shady, please stand up. Like, I need you. Hello, where are you? Who are you?
Oh God. And when I see it, it's painful. I want to go back to something else you said that is so true, you know, in terms of oh shoot, did I lose it right out of my head? There was something it'll come back. I think I lost it, but there was something. But in the meantime, we need to tell people about your Disrupt Her Mindset Reset Masterclass. Let's talk about that.
Yes. So the Disruptor Masterclass is a 90-minute intentional interruption is what I like to call it. So be prepared should you choose to enroll, and I hope that you will. We are going to interrupt things. Everything that you know is going to stay right on the other side of that door.
Okay.
Because we changes some mindsets as we enter into it. It creates awareness around your patterns that quietly drain your energy each and every day. So we're getting some clarity on that. It's giving women the language to name what they are ready to release, right? We're gonna be very vocal. We are releasing, we are shedding some things. We're relinquishing some things to get to the next level. So I call it an experience. It's designed to reset your orientation, restore your alignment, and activate movement. That is what the Disruptor Masterclass is. It's not motivation.
Right.
It is not motivation. It is definitely about clarity that leads to action. You will be activated in this particular masterclass. And I'm running this one specifically a couple times in 2026 because this is the foundation level. Like you got to break free before you can even design where you want to go. And embodiment means, oh, I'm liberated. To hell with anybody trying to say who I am, because I know who I am, right?
Right.
But before you get to that, you have to disrupt yourself. And that's why it's disrupt her, right? You got to disrupt who you are. I had to do it, and I've disrupted myself multiple times. And also, let me say this. Give yourself some grace.
Yes.
Please give yourself some grace. We're not perfect, and we're not seeking perfection.
No.
We just need to make the decision to move. It's your choice to do something different.
Right. No, I love it. And there are people in different stages in their lives. And I understand, I want to make this clear for our listeners that you are serving or showing up for supporting already high achieving women.
Correct.
So you said, you know, this is something that so don't think you've arrived, you're in the ivory tower and you have it all together. And how you know you don't have it all together is how you feel when you lay your head on your pillow at night. It's how you feel when you walk out those doors. And Birkin bag or not, the bottom line is, you know, something inside of you has to be better. And I think people should automatically self-identify if they would work well in your community, because I think there are more people out there who struggle with that climb than admit it, you know.
Absolutely.
And so it's very needed. It's very, very needed. So there's definitely, you've explained that transformation that happens. If you could leave high achieving women with one clear message today, what would you want them to remember about leadership, identity, and liberation?
That you don't need permission to become the woman you already are. You don't need permission. Validate yourself. Leadership doesn't require you to self-abandon. Liberation is truly a choice. It is a choice made within. It's not something you earn after success. It is rooted in you. No expectations. Take back your power. Take back your power. Be very clear. Become consistent in the legacy that you want to build for yourself. Design the life you truly want to live, because you only have this one to live.
That's so real. That's so real. And I want to make sure, I want to make another distinction because there are women out there who are high achieving, but not necessarily in the C suite. So I don't
Mhm.
want, high achieving could be at different levels.
It
You can be
can
a
be.
high achieving teacher in a classroom. You can be
Absolutely.
it doesn't matter. High achieving, you know who you are. You're the one that doesn't stop working,
Mhm.
that takes it home, that is always winning, but definitely exhausted at the end of every race. I mean, you
Yes.
know who you are, right? But if you're wanting to be able to still do those things, then you need to disruptor. You need to get into that master class
Absolutely.
and understand how to do that again without chipping away and burning out who you are.
Yeah.
And that's key. um Doc, I adore you, always have since I met you. I think you're amazing. I love what you're sharing. I want to stay. You'll be back. I definitely want to have you back,
I
more than
appreciate
once, because people need to hear what you have to say. But not only that, I think that there's been a lot of realness in what you're sharing. And I want our listeners to hopefully, if you catch it on the replay, this is going to be out there forever. So you're streaming on Facebook. We're live streaming on, on LinkedIn
it.
and on YouTube and on Twitch. It's going out everywhere. So, and on multiple channels. Our executive producer, founder, everyone has it going through their channel right now. For all that are listening and you want to know more, Dr. Randee Sanders, her information is in the notes, the YouTube, well, actually in the description for all of those different platforms. Look her up. Check out her. You have a
Oh,
website. You
I
have
do.
LinkedIn.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Follow
you
my website. Come on an IG. I do Monday moments where I'm giving you tidbits, a little information. Come on and join my community wherever you can find me, whatever platform you enjoy the most.
yeah, wherever, right? Whatever it is. Yeah. So one of the things, our motto, this is Iron Sharpening Iron Universe, and our motto is we are stronger together. If
Yes.
each one would reach one, we all could grow and glow. You have definitely given a wonderful example of how to do that. I'm so happy you're here again. Thank you so much. Hang on, for our listeners. I
Sure.
want to say thank you for showing up once again. If it's now or in the replay, please like, please subscribe. Let's keep this thing going. This type of information is just super important to help build people up. And now more than ever, we all need that support. So with that being said, I'm going to sign off now. And if there's anything else you want to say, I think you ended it very well.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you again for the opportunity. Thank you so much.
It's been a great conversation, one that I could have for hours probably because you're speaking my language. Anyway, okay, that's it. Say bye bye.